The side effect of the statin drugs, and two popular ones are Lipitor, Crestor, and all your statin drugs. How do they work? They inhibit the pathway in the liver that makes cholesterol. That's how they work. But that same pathway that the liver uses to make cholesterol, it uses to make coenzyme Q10. And coenzyme Q10 is our heart protective enzyme. So someone can go on cholesterol-lowering medication with the hope to prevent a heart attack, and they can increase their risk because they've now lost coenzyme Q10.
Many people think that high cholesterol or calcium buildup is the main reason for heart attacks and strokes. In fact, more than 80% of these serious events are caused by blood clots forming inside the arteries. A blood clot is not the same as a blockage caused by plaque or calcium deposits. Most of the time when a heart attack or stroke happens, it is because a clot suddenly forms and stops blood from flowing. So join us as we uncover how clots develop, what factors trigger them, and what you can do to lower your risk. As a thank you for joining me today, we're giving away 100 free copies of my best-selling book to subscribers. So if you haven't yet, hit subscribe, like this video, and comment why you want to win.
What can also damage it is not only the many chemicals that we're exposed to, but it is also exposure to mold. Mold is a toxic poison. It can come into the body and it can damage the tissues. So absolutely, the processed food, we don't realise what's on that processed food, artificial flavourings and colourings, and so the damage continues. Cigarettes contain approximately 7,000 chemicals today, it is estimated. Now, do you know what that's called? That's called 85% occlusion of the arterial wall. And a friend of mine, his name's David, he's a doctor of chiropractic. He's very fit. He goes to Europe every year, cycles 200k cycles. He eats plants. He's a vegetarian. He doesn't drink or smoke. He was getting breathless. And his friend, who's a cardiologist, did an angiogram, and he said, "You've got two arteries with 85% occlusion. You're a walking, talking heart attack, just waiting to happen." So they rushed him into hospital. They sawed his, I used to work in operating theatre, they saw those ribs open. They cut out the offending arteries. They cut a couple of arteries out of the back of the legs, sew that up and put them in here. And does that doctor tell the person to change their lifestyle? Change their food? No, because doctors don't study nutrition. Or they study about 4 hours in 7 years. Which is crazy. I'm not against doctors. Some of my best friends are doctors. And I believe most doctors are ethical. I'm against the system that is not teaching the truth. And when the Bible says, "Put not your trust in princes," and there are a movement of doctors who are not putting their trust in the princes in the pharmaceutical company anymore because they don't actually tell the truth. It's like the article where I read, "New cancer cure, 50% cure." Then you read the fine print, 2 people were tested and 1 died. So it's all the way see it. Is the cup half full or is the cup half empty? And so David had he had the 2 bypasses. He's 62. So I was talking to him, he said, "It's genetics, Barb." Well, do you know what they're relating to genetics now? 5%. Genetics may load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. My mother died a cripple in a wheelchair with rheumatoid arthritis at 51. Notice that I'm not a cripple in a wheelchair and I'm way past 51 and I'm not dead. Because genetics may load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. That's the good news. And that's what I said, Dave. Genetics loads the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. He said, "Well, that's what my doctor said, it's genetics." He ended up coming to the retreat, and I put my detective hat on. I wanted to know why this had happened to David. And how many people would say, "Well, look at him. His cycles, his plant-based, what good's it done him? But there is always a reason. Proverbs 26 verse 2, the Bible says, the curse causeless shall not come. No problem happens without a cause. So I said, tell me about your childhood, David. Did you have a happy, healthy childhood? He said, oh, it wasn't too bad. Both my parents chain smoked. Aha! Both parents chain smoking. And this is in the 50s, 60s, where people were smoking in restaurants, people were smoking in cars, people were smoking everywhere. In fact, every sport event, all the advertising was smoking. There were smokes on the smoking advertisements, all on the television. It's been a big change since then. So young David, all his childhood, he's breathing in this passive smoke. I'd like to suggest that by the age of 15, I wouldn't be surprised if David had about a 20% build-up in his arteries.
The human body is built with a system that stops bleeding when an injury occurs. When you cut your skin, platelets and proteins work quickly to form a clot that stops the bleeding. In the arteries, however, the same process can turn dangerous if it happens at the wrong time. When a clot forms inside an artery, it can block the flow of blood to the heart or brain. Without blood, these organs do not get the oxygen and nutrients they need, and that can lead to a heart attack or a stroke. A clot can form in as little as 5 seconds after the lining of an artery is damaged. Although cholesterol and plaque build up over time can create problems, it is the clot that usually causes the sudden event. For example, if you smoke, each puff introduces many harmful chemicals into your body. Studies show that smokers may face up to a 3- or 4-fold increase in the chance of clot formation compared to non-smokers. This is because the chemicals in smoke irritate and damage the inner wall of your arteries. The damaged area becomes a trigger for a clot to form quickly. Similarly, chemicals found in polluted air or certain industrial environments can lead to inflammation in the arteries. Inflammation makes the inner walls more sensitive to injury. When these cells become inflamed, the body's clotting mechanism can start too soon or too strongly, which blocks the artery. High levels of sugar in the blood can also make your blood stickier. Sticky blood is more likely to form clots because the platelets in your blood can more easily stick together when there is too much sugar around. Alcohol is another factor that affects the arteries. When you drink a lot of alcohol, it acts as a poison for the liver and enters the bloodstream. High alcohol levels in your blood can change the way the cells in your arteries work and can cause inflammation. This increase in inflammation means the inner walls of the arteries are more likely to be injured, and that injury can start the clotting process. The numbers here are important too. For people who drink heavily, the risk of clot-related events can be much higher than in people who drink in moderation or not at all. Hormonal medications, such as birth control pills or hormone replacement therapy, also have an effect on your arteries. These treatments change the balance of hormones in your body, and this can lead to changes in the lining of your arteries. When the inner lining becomes irritated or inflamed, it creates a situation where clots are more likely to form. Some reports have indicated that this effect can increase the risk of clot formation by 30 to 50% for certain users.
The best heart herb is cayenne pepper. I've had some people say to me, but isn't cayenne pepper a stimulant? Well, it's different to all other stimulants because it stimulates the blood. And the blood is the life of the flesh. Anything that stimulates blood is going to be good for the body because the blood contains the life. Cayenne pepper does 3 things. Cayenne pepper thins the blood. It's a powerful blood thinner. We've had some guests come to us who are on aspirin to thin the blood. The research now is showing that aspirin causes brain bleeds, causes stomach bleeds, and it causes eye bleeds. Cayenne pepper does not cause any bleeds. In fact, if cayenne pepper is going through your through your arteries and your veins, and it finds any bleeding, it'll seal the bleeding blood vessel. How come it can thin the blood and yet seal bleeding blood vessels? Well, God said that he gave herbs for the service of man. So the cayenne pepper comes in and says, where would you like me? I'll thin this blood. Oops, I'll seal off that bleeding blood vessel. It's a powerful herb. The book Back to Eden by Jethro Kloss, he devotes half a page to every herb, and he devotes 10 pages to cayenne pepper. It's a powerful herb. Cayenne pepper not only thins the blood, it strengthens the arterial walls. So anyone who has had damage from all the things that we talked about that cause the damage, they can be repaired. And cayenne pepper helps to repair that. The third thing that the cayenne pepper does is it opens the capillaries. So you get a more powerful, effective flow of blood through the whole body. That's what cayenne pepper does. How do you take it? You can begin with 1/4 teaspoon in a little water 3 times daily. If you take it with your meals, it'll certainly help your digestion by boosting even more digestive enzymes. 3 times daily. In the book Back to Eden by Jethro Kloss, there's a couple of testimonies from doctors who have used cayenne pepper. One doctor said it's impossible to abuse it, and the other doctor said it will never cause a lesion. It might feel like it's burning. I like to call it a tickle, but it certainly settles down very quickly. We had a lady at one of our recent health retreats, and she saw the importance of ceasing her blood thinners, but she could not handle the cayenne pepper, so she took it in a capsule form. I think it's a pity to take it in a capsule form, because when you take it by mouth, every part of the body that it touches is benefiting. But it is an option if a person finds it difficult.
Another important factor is the role of calcium in the body. Calcium is essential for many processes, including the clotting of blood. In fact, calcium is part of more than 15 different clotting factors in the body. While calcium is necessary, an excess amount can lead to problems. For example, postmenopausal women who take high doses of calcium supplements sometimes show an increased risk of forming clots. The extra calcium can deposit in the soft tissues of the arteries, leading to calcification. Once the arteries start to harden because of calcium deposits, any small injury can trigger a strong clotting response. There is a natural balance in the body that helps manage calcium levels. Some nutrients play key roles in making sure that calcium goes where it is needed, like in the bones, rather than settling in the arteries. This natural system works well when everything is balanced, but when other factors such as inflammation or high sugar are present, this balance can be upset. That is why the focus should be on both reducing inflammation and managing calcium in the body. Key nutrients can help keep calcium in the right place and reduce the chance of a dangerous clot. One such nutrient is vitamin K2. Vitamin K2 helps move calcium out of the arteries and into the bones. This nutrient is found in foods like dairy, butter, and certain fermented foods. When you get enough vitamin K2, it can help prevent calcium from building up in the wrong areas. Along with vitamin K2, vitamin D plays an important role. Vitamin D helps reduce inflammation inside the arteries. Getting enough sunlight or eating foods rich in vitamin D can help maintain a healthy level in the blood. Magnesium is another nutrient that supports heart health. Magnesium helps regulate calcium and prevents it from depositing in the soft tissues. It also helps maintain a steady heart rhythm. For instance, a lack of magnesium can lead to irregular heartbeats, which in turn can lead to blood pooling in the heart. Blood that pools is more likely to form a clot. Foods like leafy green vegetables, nuts, and whole grains are good sources of magnesium. Keeping your magnesium levels within a healthy range is an important part of preventing dangerous clots. The body also relies on nitric oxide to keep blood vessels open and blood flowing easily. Nitric oxide helps to thin the blood, which lowers the chance of a clot forming. One of the main ingredients needed to produce nitric oxide is the amino acid L-arginine. L-arginine is found in foods such as meat and liver. It is interesting to note that even moderate exposure to sunlight helps boost nitric oxide production deep within the tissues. When your blood flows more freely, it reduces the pressure on the arteries and lowers the risk of clot formation. In addition to these nutrients, natural substances like polyphenols from herbs and vegetables, vitamin C and omega-3 fatty acids help maintain a healthy cardiovascular system. Omega-3 fatty acids found in fish and flax seeds work to thin the blood naturally. They help the blood flow more smoothly, reducing the chance of a clot. Leafy green vegetables, which are high in vitamin K1, help keep your blood clotting at normal levels. Even though these vegetables are known for their vitamin K1 content, they help bring your blood to a normal level rather than making it overly thick. Dietary choices play a key role in managing your overall risk. For example, refined carbohydrates and sugars make your blood stickier. When your blood is sticky, clots are more likely to form. In numbers, people who eat a lot of refined foods have a higher risk of a clot because the sugars and starches cause constant inflammation. On the other hand, a diet that emphasizes whole foods, including fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats, supports a balanced blood flow. Diets that include intermittent fasting or are low in carbohydrates can also help by reducing inflammation and lowering blood sugar levels. Everyday choices matter. Simple habits such as eating a balanced diet, not smoking, limiting alcohol, and managing stress can all reduce the risk of clot formation. Even small changes have a big impact over time. For example, if you switch from refined grains to whole grains, you may lower your risk of a clot without having to change everything about your lifestyle. The same goes for increasing your intake of leafy greens, garlic, and onion. These foods have been shown to support better blood flow and help maintain normal blood viscosity. In numbers, even a 10 to 15% improvement in diet quality can have measurable benefits for heart health over the long term. Exercise also plays an important role. Regular, moderate exercise improves circulation and helps keep the arteries flexible. Physical activity such as walking, cycling, or swimming can boost your heart health. However, extreme exercise that places too much stress on your body can have the opposite effect by increasing inflammation. It is important to strike a balance. For example, a moderate 30-minute walk a day can help reduce the risk of clot formation, while a marathon, if not prepared for properly, may put extra stress on the body. In many cases, consistent moderate exercise is more beneficial than occasional high-intensity workouts. Sleep and stress management are key factors as well. Poor sleep and high stress levels have been linked to increased inflammation. When you do not get enough sleep, your body may have higher levels of stress hormones in your blood, which can speed up the clotting process. Techniques such as meditation, deep breathing, or even a short walk outside can help lower your stress levels. When you manage stress effectively, you help keep the balance in your body, reducing the chance that your arteries will be damaged and trigger a clot. Another practical tip is to keep an eye on infections. Even a small infection, if it lingers, can raise your risk of clot formation. Good dental care, for example, is important because a tooth infection can cause bacteria to enter your bloodstream. This bacteria increases inflammation and raises the chance of a clot forming. Simple hygiene practices and taking care of infections promptly can help lower your overall risk. There are also natural enzymes that some people use to support healthy blood flow. Enzymes from sources like pineapples or certain insects are known to help reduce blood viscosity. When taken on an empty stomach, these natural supplements may help reduce the tendency for clot formation. However, these should only be considered if you have a known clotting problem and after discussing with a healthcare professional. The numbers tell an important story. Smokers can have up to 4 times the risk of clot formation. Heavy drinkers may see their risk double. Diabetics face a 4 to 5 times higher risk. and extreme stress can boost the chance of a heart attack by as much as 2,000%. These figures show that while cholesterol and plaque are factors, the real danger lies in the sudden formation of a blood clot. And that's why understanding blood clots is so important. It's not just about cholesterol or calcium, it's about keeping your blood flowing smoothly. Simple changes like managing stress, eating the right nutrients, and staying active can make a big difference. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on heart health. Stay informed, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next one.